Happy New Year again. It's about, I think about an hour and a half. Anyway, I turned off the stove and and um, I got to slice off a piece for our daughter who's in quarantine in Waikiki. Can you imagine that? Being quarantined in Waikiki. So, I'm gonna pull out the roast. I'm not too sure. I don't have a meat thermometer, but I know she likes hers rare, and ooh, I can tell this is very rare. Anyway, you can always heat it up in a microwave. So I'm just gonna cut off a piece and let her have at it. Yeah, this is still rare. So I'm just gonna turn the I'm gonna turn that into a gravy. I'm just gonna heat it up. Doesn't need deglazing because it's mostly fat. And let this rest a little while. And I'm gonna toss in. You can use any like au jus or whatever that you prefer. Because your seasoning is separate. So I'm just gonna add some. I'm gonna use a mushroom gravy base. Okay. And make my gravy that way. I mean, it depends on your taste. You could make separate gravies if you wanted to go through the trouble, because you could separate out different portions of the fat. You could make a roux. You could do the regular brown gravy. I mean, it's up to you. If you have varying tastes within your family and you're not sure, then you could make several sauces and let people choose. Or maybe even some of the high-end restaurants, they have dipping sauces. So you could do it that way too, and then people could try different flavors, right? I was even thinking of doing a demi-glaze, but I found out it takes like a whole day to make demi-glace. So then I was thinking of Jardin sauce, which is the wine reduction, but that also takes another day to make. So let's just keep it simple. And I'm just gonna fry up the not onions, the mushrooms in this pot. Let me move this over so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. Okay. So I added the mushrooms and I got it on medium high. And then what I'm gonna do is gonna take this mushroom gravy mix, make it simple. You mix it in with cold water. Follow the instructions on the box. And be careful again, because this is hot oil. Even though I got water in it already from the mushrooms are weeping. I'm going to turn down the heat because I don't want to get burnt again. Okay, so the heat's turned down. This is a premix. So it has starch in it to thicken the gravy. Okay, and then here we go. And I'll put a little bit more water in just in case I need to thin it out some more. Because you don't want it too thick. You just kind of want it like when you lift up the spoon, it sticks to the spoon. So, too low. So I raise the heat again. So you got to stir this constantly when you put in mix, because it has cornstarch in it or some kind of thickening agent. It will clump if you don't stir it. Okay, but it only takes a minute if the heat's up. Okay, so I can smell the. Now, if you're trying to do this from scratch, you don't have a mix, you can add your seasonings, your garlic, salt, pepper, beef bouillon if you got. So So this is thickening up nicely. I don't want it too thick. I don't want it like country gravy thickness. That's a little too thick. Okay. So you can see it's dripping from the spoon and sticking to the spoon. So this is adequate enough. Okay, now I gotta watch out. It might be too salty. If it's too salty, then I gotta thin out the. I gotta thin it out then. So I'm gonna taste it at this point, because this is usually the final stage. And that is particularly salty, so I'm gonna add a little bit more. But you gotta remember now, the meat's not seasoned, other than a little bit of salt. So I'm just gonna thin it out just a bit, a quarter of a cup, and I think that'll do it. So you salt it to your taste. I could add a little bit of pepper. And I think that's it. And if you're not too sure, have someone else taste it. Now it should be a little on the salty side, because you got to remember you're going to dip the meat in it. Okay? And if you're eating it with mashed potatoes, depending on how seasoned the mashed potatoes is, I just put a little garlic salt in the mashed potatoes with butter and milk, and that was adequate. Okay, so I got this. I'm gonna turn off the heat. Now we're gonna check the roast. Now I know this is gonna be very, very rare, but because I'm pushed for time and I gotta deliver this to in what we call town down in Waikiki, so I may end up giving her a little bit of outside, a little bit of inside, because I know she likes it rare. So I'm gonna do that, and the inside will definitely be rare, and she can always reheat it in the microwave. Though that's kind of a sacrilege, and she's a huge meat eater. So here we go. Yeah, it's definitely rare. So I'm gonna, when we leave, I'm gonna. Well, I'm not gonna leave. I'm gonna watch it on the stove. Oh. Definitely rare. So we would need to cook this at least another hour. Yeah, it's pretty much raw. So what I'm gonna do is, just to get it over to her, I'm gonna just finish pan frying it. And you could do this. A lot of restaurants do this. They roast it till this point where it's very rare, because people ask for rare and it's already late at night and they close the restaurant, right? They're closing the restaurant, but somebody wants a rare slice, and how can they give them a rare slice when everything's already cooked already and it's been sitting on a warmer for hours? So what I'm gonna do, to save the time, because I'm running out of time, we don't like traveling in Waikiki at night. A little too dark. Even though the tourists like it, it's all romantic. Okay. So I cut in between one of the bones. It's a nice, thick, healthy piece. And I'm gonna take this out, put it back in a pot. Ooh. Like I can't put it back in the pot. As you see, it's very rare. Okay. And I'm just gonna flip it over. Okay, so I'm gonna take this. Actually, I would eat it like that, but I'm gonna just sear it for her. Sear it. Yeah. The wife doesn't like looking at that. So, okay. So, turn on the heat. And again, if you're wondering why there's a paper towel under here, this is an induction stove. It doesn't turn on unless you put a metal pan. Got to be have metal iron and magnetic. So yeah. So I'm just gonna turn this on super high and get it to sear. Let's see. So I can smell the nice roasted, lightly burnt flavor coming out. So I'll turn down the heat. So I'm just trying to sear it just to get it some color. Like I said, she likes it rare, so I would eat it like that. But let's just heat it up, and because she doesn't have access to a stove, only a microwave. Okay, and you can see this was originally in the pot, and I didn't even sear this side, so you can see it changed color already. Okay, so let's see how this side looks. Give a little brown on that side, and oh, that looks nice. Okay. Okay, so that's it. And whew, barely fit inside the tray. But get it there. Okay, so I'm gonna put the gravy in the